Hello, world. My next guest is a powerhouse in go-to-market strategy with a sharp focus on how AI is transforming how we perceive brands. She's also been honored as Marketing PR Professional of the Year by Healthcare IT Marketing and Tampa Bay Business Journal 30 Under 30. Please join me in welcoming Tori Jeffcoat, Director of Product Marketing at Gainsight, to the show. Tori, are you ready to get radically transparent with me?
I am. Such an exciting intro, but thank you so much, Jen. Really excited to be here today.
Absolutely. We are so thrilled to have Team Gainsight on our podcast today. And, we kick off every show pretty much the same. And I'm going to throw this famous question your way. What is something that has absolutely been keeping you up at night professionally?
Oh, such a great question. I think the biggest thing that's top of mind for me is how do we, as a brand, as a business, create and maintain a consistent, authentic message around who we are when so much is changing in SaaS right now and the constant evolution of AI? I think that's really the biggest question for me.
Yeah, I think I'm right there with you. And I realize I feel like Gainsight has become quite a household name. But for those listening who may not be familiar with Gainsight and who absolutely should know the name, could you just maybe share a little bit about the value you bring to your customers? What is Gainsight?
Yeah, absolutely. If you've heard of Gainsight before, it's probably because we are, like you said, a powerhouse and a consistent staple in the customer success space. We wrote the book on my bookshelf back here behind me on customer success, but we've evolved a lot since then. So we really today help our customers orchestrate the entire customer journey from onboarding all the way to outcomes and renewal. Really connecting things like learning, education with community, in-product experiences, all of that with customer success to really help companies keep and grow your customers. We call it our customer operating system or customer OS. All of that, of course, buzzword bingo version uses baked in purpose built AI and agents. But really, what we do is use AI to help you scale those CS programs in ways we haven't been able to before. So, using AI to help uncover signals that teams miss with traditional tools and reach customers that we really can't scale to headcount wise today to really kind of extend teams' impact.
Wow. So if you could put that in one sentence, how would you actually describe the moment we're in with AI and brand marketing?
Yeah, it's a great question too. I think marketing right now is really trying to stay real and authentic to who we are as companies, as businesses. I know I talked about the thing keeping me up at night is how do we keep true to our purpose with agentic capabilities, up leveling what we offer, but still really supporting kind of the core of what any business or company does. And I think with AI, it's more and more critical for our brand voice, our authentic, real story and ideas to really shine through. It's even more important to have good quality content, I think, in my opinion, and add value to those consuming that content when it's so easy now to create content quantity with AI and some of those tools to scale.
Absolutely. AI is truly changing our landscape. And I think what's really interesting is when we think about as marketing leaders, AI and how it's changing how we perceive the brands we know and trust. So as you mentioned, right, we're doing a lot more writing, there's a lot more content that is generated by AI. But how do you maintain that trust? Can you help unpack how we're able to keep that trust?
Yeah, it's again another great question. I think there's really two elements of trust that come to mind with that question, Jen. One is just creating good quality content. Like I just said, is I think one of those core components to trusting the brands you're interacting with. And I think the second part is really having good data to build marketing programs around and make sure they're actually relevant, right, for the customer retargeting and adding value there too. For the content piece, I think there's again this obvious wave of AI generated content that's been pushed out in the last couple of years from all companies, right? Big and small. And some of it isn't quite adding, I think, the value that we've traditionally seen with marketing content and material. And when you're consuming that from a brand, when it's not meaningful, it's really easy, I think, to lose trust in the value in hearing from that brand. There's really no reason to continue interacting when you don't have good new things you're learning and growing and understanding from, right? And so I think there was that early rush, right, from marketers to use AI. The hype cycle, if you think about the hype cycle for AI, it's I think similar across honestly all industries and job roles, but there was a ton of excitement and early adoption and maybe over adoption on some of those shiny early use cases just for us all to scale and get it out there and use AI every way we could. And that resulted in, I think, an intense distrust a little bit of some of those early use cases where we weren't using it in the right ways and the content we were creating wasn't driving the right value, right, for our customers or prospects to consume. And I think now we've gotten past that, right? We've done the cycle, we've hit the trial of disillusionment, right, in the hype, and now we're back up to using AI in ways that really matter and do actually add value. And I think there are a lot of brands doing that really well today, using AI for more effective experiences. I think the other thing your question brings up for me is that those brand experiences, as they're growing, as we have more access to more content, more ways 24/7 with agents and bots and all of those that everyone's really starting to adopt and absorb, it becomes more and more critical to have good data that we're building that marketing on. I know we've all, I'm sure, in marketing at some point had the email go out with the wrong first name in it, or to the right person, sending a LinkedIn ad right to a customer instead of a prospect. And it becomes more critical to get that data right as we're using AI in more ways to create hyper personalized experiences and to engage in more ways than we have before. So I think that data part is maybe the underrated side of using AI effectively and how we need to think about it to be successful in the future.
Absolutely. So let's take a moment and imagine the brand of the future, right? We know it will be powered by AI. We've mastered AI at this point, but in addition, fully trusted by the people, right? So what, in your opinion, what does that brand look like and sound like?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. I think I'll just go on the customer experience, right? Being more broader and touching more channels in more ways and in more experiences, right, for folks. Having those experiences come together across those wide range of channels and being consistent and authentic to who the brand is, I feel like is that future vision, right, for where AI can help us get to and where we need to be able to really take that broad range of channels and deliver a consistent customer experience. We talk about a lot in customer success for Gainsight is that your customer never should feel your org chart or feel like they're interacting with a different part of your business. It's the same thing with brands and marketing. Whether you're interacting on a community channel, a social channel, a AI agent on a website. They're all really part of that same experience. I think that brand of the future, when we've mastered AI, when we're doing all the right things in all the right ways, and using data in the right ways to deliver that experience, should be consistent for the consumer. And they should feel like they're interacting with the same brand, the same company, no matter what channel that is. I think that also means being transparent, right? Creating really intelligent and responsive experiences that are personalized in the right ways, not the creepy, my phone is listening to me and now I get 17 ads for whatever that topic was, but in ways that really add value to that end consumer, end user who's experiencing your brand. And I think at that point too, it doesn't really matter if you're interacting with a human or an agent. When the experience is consistent, I'll just say that 17 more times, but when it's a consistent experience, that really, I think, delivers what customers want, right? And helps use AI in the right ways to extend the team.
Absolutely. So I've got to ask you, Tori, how are the AI tools that you're using in your team? How are they helping free up time and not just fill space?
I actually really love this question. I feel like I've said that a lot, Jen, but we get this a lot for our own customers too. And I think it's such a great question because it's not just AI to save time or do more things, right? It has to be meaningful. And so a lot of what we're working to do is use AI in ways that save time from the lower value tasks, the stuff that we can automate, so that we can spend more time on the strategic side and really researching and being intentional with what we're doing. In product marketing, that comes in a lot, right? In terms of being strategic with how we position to competitors in the market. Not only being able to convey, the AI and agentic and all of that change, but convey what that means to our core business value prop as well, I think is so critical. And so we're using AI a lot to help streamline things like drafting emails, writing abstracts, right? All the things that I'm sure most marketing teams are doing so that we can use things like deep research to get more informed, more strategic, more value add materials from that strategy side. I think one example for just my team is we use a lot of deep research. We use a lot of competitive tools that now have AI embedded so that we can stay really up to date and up to speed with some of those changes in the market so that we can then be a lot more streamlined with how we incorporate that data, but also how we're doing all those other, I don't want to say low value because it's all really important, but all of those other tasks that AI is really helpful at just helping us get further to the finish line, getting us 80% there, right? So we can take it the final 20 versus having to do 100%, right, of that task.
I love that. I love that. Now, I would be amiss if I did not ask the next question because I do think there is still a fear for many, and it's always a hot topic in many circles, whether you're marketing, sales, customer success, is this fear that AI is replacing or changing or shifting roles fast. And I want to take a look specifically at the role of the SDR because in the industry, I know that we're seeing, AI agents popping up as almost the latest trend. What's your take on how AI is shifting go-to-market teams?
Yeah, I think just to kind of answer your first question there, Jen, on the fear of AI replacing roles, there's a lot of change right now in marketing in every industry and SaaS in general. And I think there's definitely an uncertainty that always comes with change. And I think we're all trying to navigate that personally, professionally, just kind of across everything, it feels like right now. But I think particularly for SDRs and some of these roles where there is opportunity to automate pieces of a task with agents, I feel like what we're seeing a lot and how we're using, because we have an agentic SDR that we use ourselves, but how we're seeing that being used and leveraged is really to extend the reach of a team, not to replace an existing team. How we use that is on our website, for example. So we have an agentic SDR that does incoming chat on our website and helps to try and convert those, of course, to demos and meetings. But that's not a role that an SDR was previously filling for us. And I don't think in many cases an SDR is typically doing web chat, right, in that same fashion. So I think agents help us to reach more prospects, more customers in ways that we just couldn't scale to before, instead of really replacing what existing labor is kind of doing, right, and where we're adding a lot of value. We see a lot at Gainsight for there's a customer success manager, CSM, very similar to an SDR role in some ways, where there's a couple different tasks that that role is doing. And in a similar way, it helps us to reach more customers that maybe a traditional CSM can't. Same way that it helps us to reach more from a prospect perspective that an SDR, a human SDR can't. So we're seeing that a lot, I think, across industries in addition to in marketing. And I think it's also just looking at kind of the history of marketing in general as an example. Marketing automation started to do a lot of stuff that we previously did manually, right, years and years ago. I think it's the same thing with agents and AI, where it's helping us to automate some pieces that maybe our work is changing and how we work in the future will be different, but
Yeah,
it's not replacing the need for a marketing team, just like marketing automation didn't replace the need for marketers either.
absolutely. Now, I have to ask because you're Team Gainsight and you are, right, the best of the best when it comes to customer success. So, what do you personally make of the idea of an AI customer success manager? Do you think the future of customer success roles will be a genetic or human led or a
Yeah,
mix
I
of
think
both?
it's definitely, I think, a push for digital is happening right across all roles, across all industries. Same thing in customer success. And the customer success manager or CSM role, I think, is one of those that if you break down the true jobs that a CSM does, we actually did this at Gainsight. We did a jobs to be done analysis, if you're familiar with that framework, where we said, what are the common tasks that this role, this CSM role, typically does? And which of those tasks are things that AI might be good at? So some of those are highly transactional. Like the SDR on the website is a very transactional. Someone comes in, we want to get them to a meeting, right? There's like a set list of things that typically happens, but some are very human centric. And a CSM role that is creating a relationship with a customer who's managing that customer relationship, coordinating internal stakeholders, building those bridges, right? That's not something that AI is able to do or good at all today. But those transactional pieces, the things that have kind of a set list of tasks, those are things where AI can play a role. And so I think there's a future where we're kind of combining AI taking some of those transactional, more lower effort type tasks off of any role's plate, CSM in this example, and helping that role to be more strategic, to be more relationship oriented, to focus a lot more on that side. I think that's also where, in general, the industry is kind of going. The easier it is to build products, which AI has, done a huge improvement in, right, and helped everyone to take that leap to building more competitive, robust products. The more emphasis there is on the customer experience, and same thing with marketing. The more emphasis there is on the brand experience, right, with the prospect or the customer. And so those experiences become more and more critical, and the relationship side of someone feeling good about working with you, your brand, your product becomes more and more important for a human CSM to fill. So I
Absolutely.
think it's kind of that divide, right, between the transactional and the relationship side when it comes down to it.
Absolutely. I'm with you. Now, I'm gonna be forward thinking for a moment. What excites you most about where AI and brand and marketing, and I know you're a product marketer, so feel free to answer from a product marketing angle, but what really excites you most about where we're heading over the next 18 months?
Honestly, I feel like it's been such a whirlwind of change already, and it's not slowing down. So the next 18 months is so hard to predict in terms of where we'll be then versus where we are now. Just like AI has been over the last couple of years, just the pace of change and innovation has been exciting to your question, but I think also a little daunting for most of us trying to keep up, trying to make sure we're saying the latest and greatest in all the right ways and incorporating that in the ways that matter for us to stay ahead and continue progressing in our careers. So it is exciting that so much is changing so fast. And I have full confidence that 18 months from now, the marketing world will look a lot different than it does today. I think we're already seeing that change. I think what else is really exciting for me, just from a product marketing perspective, is a lot of us have been figuring AI out over the last couple of years. And I think that's resulted in a lot of generic, more less differentiated kind of positioning, right, around AI and what that means to a company and a brand. I think we're finally trying to get out of that or starting to get out of that. So I see a lot of the buzzword bingo, so to speak, of AI kind of we're cutting through the noise now. We're trying to figure out how it really fits into our brand and our narrative and our positioning. And I'm really excited looking forward to how marketing is going to evolve and incorporate that in better, more differentiated ways. It's never a dull moment, right? Right now in SaaS. And I think that's an exciting place to be. I'd
Absolutely.
also feel like it's a good intersection, right, of where our more personalized, consistent experiences that we talked about earlier, better quality content. Like there's a lot of good things coming out of it. We just have the opportunity to kind of seize that moment and build for the future experience, build for that more connected experience. Even across, marketing and post sales and all the other pieces of the puzzle within an organization, I feel like AI is really helping us all to bridge those gaps better cross functionally and create more consistent experiences across the board. So just really excited for the future, a little bit nervous. I think we all are, but also really excited for where we're headed.
Absolutely, Tori. So in 18 months, we're gonna meet in the same time, same place. We're gonna have this conversation all over. We're gonna see how much has actually changed. So I have three rapid fire questions for you, and our show-stopping last question. Are you ready for the next round?
Sounds good.
All right. The AI tool you take to a desert island would be.
Definitely chat GPT. I mean, there's just so much that I use it for so many different use cases. So easy answer on that one.
So we know Gainsight's doing it fantastic, so I'm taking that one off the list. But what is the brand, which brand do you think is doing AI right?
I really like Intercom, their fin.ai website. If you haven't seen it, it's fantastic. But I think they've clearly gone all in on it in a lot of really good ways. So I really like what they're doing.
Love. We're gonna all go check it out. Last rapid fire question. One piece of advice that you would give for B2B marketers working to integrate AI into their workflows and with their teams.
I think this is one of those go slow to go fast things. So it's a great way to test small, test a couple use cases, see what works for you, make sure you get it right, and then go big and go fast and go hard and using AI in all the ways that can make an impact for your business.
Incredible. So, Tori, I have my last question for you. What is one thing you can tell us about yourself that we can't learn about you from looking at your LinkedIn profile or asking ChatGPT?
Well, I think for me, when I'm not building positioning, messaging, all the stuff for work, I'm actually a huge DIYer, like at home. So I've built things like a deck, a fireplace, currently revamping our garage. So through a renovation there right now, but do a lot of DIY work on the magical free time that is rare and rare to come by.
Tori, that's incredible. I would have never guessed. That's amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us today on the Radically Transparent podcast. If anyone wants to speak AI, customer success, Gainsight, product marketing, where is the best place to connect?
Gainsight.com. We definitely have some really exciting things coming in the future. So definitely encourage everyone to keep an eye on our website and social channels, of course, and all of those ways to connect with us.
Fantastic. Tori, thank you so much for joining us and getting radically transparent.
Yeah. Thank you, Jen. Have a great rest of the day, everyone.